A Geek Culture Cast network production.
Funny. She doesn't look Jewish.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerve herder.
Warp My TARDIS podcast.
Who's scruffy looking?
Stupid elf! You could have killed me!
Don't be never meant to kill. Don't be only meant to maim or seriously injure.
Must be a spatio-temporal hyperlink.
What's that?
No idea. Just made it up. Do you want to say magic door?
And welcome to Warp My TARDIS podcast. KJ, what are you doing over there?
I could not hear the opening.
It's okay. I heard it over here.
Yeah, you could hear it, but how am I supposed to know when to cue in since I'm the host of the show?
That is true. I'm very confused as to how you couldn't hear it because I do have the loop through. Anyway, please continue, sir. Welcome to Warp My TARDIS.
Welcome to episode 3 of season...
Yeah, 3.
Episode 3, season 3 of Warp My TARDIS podcast here on the Geek Culture Cast Network. You can reach out to us on Twitter at Warp My TARDIS and at Geek Culture Cast.
Woohoo! I like it. Don't forget our buddies over at Active Geek Podcast.
Oh, I just listened to 3/4 of the Black Panther podcast that they did. They really go deep into Black Panther, which actually dovetails very nicely into our podcast from last week on Legends of the Panel. If you don't listen to us on all of our networks and everything, you should.
Hashtag GCCN.
Yes, hashtag GCCN if you're actually putting anything up on the Twitters. Anyway, how you doing, Mr. Chulak?
I'm doing good. We've had a freaking awesome week in society, in my opinion. We had in this sci-fi world, this space world, we had an awesome moment from SpaceX here in the United States. They launched a pretty good mass simulator into space with their Falcon Heavy rockets, and it's currently on its way to Mars and the asteroid belt, and it's racking up some miles.
I heard there was a Falcon punch.
There was a Falcon punch, and quoting Elon Musk, the creator and CEO of both Tesla and SpaceX, who sent his Tesla Roadster into space, which is just awesome, playing David Bowie, albeit at the same time. He said in his press conference, he goes, 2 of the 3 rockets made it back, just like in the animation. I'm still tripping balls that they landed at the same time. Quoting him, I'm still tripping balls. He goes, but the center core kind of hit the drone ship at about 300 miles an hour. So, no, not so much. But that's okay because he said all 3 of those they were not going to reuse anyway, but they did learn that they need to top off the fuel a little bit more before next launch because it ran out of fuel. Anyway, we have that. We've got the Olympics that officially start this week, so I hope you're, touting your Canadian flag. I'll be over here waving the American flag, and hopefully Mr. Trump doesn't poke his head out too much and say anything at the Olympics.
Oh, I got my broom ready for the curling, because, that's the only sport in the Olympics where you can drink and play at the same time.
Really? You can drink while... No. Are you serious?
Dude,
You're joking.
Classic curling. You're drinking, you got a beer in one hand, your broom in the other.
You're joking. That's not real. I've never seen alcohol when watching. I mean, I'm always consuming alcohol when watching curling because I think it's awesome. Because us Americans just think it's the most fascinating sport.
Do you not see the nice white cups at the end of the rink when they come off the ice? They grab the cup.
Aren't they filled with Gatorade?
Ain't water, dude.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll never know unless we're actually Olympians playing there. But I do find the Olympics one of my favorite things. We actually started recording early tonight because I was misinformed, thanks to NBC. I thought the opening ceremony was going to start tonight at 8 p.m. No, they're just starting coverage of some of the sports. Tomorrow at 6 a.m. they actually will be doing the opening ceremonies because I'm legit, I love the Olympics, both winter and sports. So awesome week, man.
You like the Olympics, both winter and sports?
Both winter and sports, yes. Sometimes the summer, but not so much.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
How many minutes are we in? Only 4 minutes in, and I'm already goofing up. Go figure. But, so yeah.
Well, we had Super Bowl was last Sunday.
I could care less about that one.
Well, Eagles won. Yay. Thank you. Because,
Jim and Chuck are big
that
Eagles.
way,
Congrats, guys.
the New England,
yes, Patriots.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No, I would not call them Patriots. I would call them
bandwagons. The New England bandwagoners.
Well, I saw the SNL sketch,
Mm-hmm.
the Patriots of New England. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they're a bit that obnoxious. Anyway, to all my friends in New England, yeah, go Pats.
Yeah, no. Anyway,
But we had some really good trailers that came out during that.
Yeah.
Some of them that we will talk about on Legends of the Panel next week. We had the new full-length Black Panther trailer, which was really awesome. The Infinity War trailer that came out, which unfortunately got cut here in Canada, so I had to watch it on the YouTubes.
what?
But then we had both the teaser and the long-form trailer came out for the next Star Wars film, Solo.
Yeah. I think
And you're not into it.
Well, I think I've only seen the teaser. I don't think I've seen the full-blown solo film teaser or trailer because somehow I missed that one. But I don't know. I'm still a little skeptical on the actors playing, Han Solo, and I just don't know. I mean, it's Han Solo. Why are you touching something like that? And I don't know.
All I will tell you is, from what I've seen and watching the trailer, it works. The fact that Woody Harrelson is now in the Star Wars universe.
Okay, Woody Harrelson is awesome in general. We all know this. He's a great guy, great laid-back guy. But anyway, I'm excited. Okay, I'll say this: I'm interested in it. I won't say I'm excited yet. How about that?
Well, let's put it this way. Deadpool 2 comes... Actually, let's go back to the beginning of May. So the beginning of May, we get Marvel Avengers Infinity Wars.
Mm-hmm.
We get Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
With Cable.
We get Venom.
And Negasonic.
Negasonic.
Warhead.
Yeah. We get
the
Venom.
girl's got guts.
And we get...
No, Venom's October.
Oh, October. I'm sorry. What else
You're
is
jumping way ahead. That's another 6 months away, dude. Avengers the beginning of the month, Deadpool the middle of the month, and for Memorial Day in the United States, we get a Star Wars film.
That's right.
That's pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, like I said off air, I said our birthday month is looking awesome for us. We're going to be spending a lot of time at the theaters this coming birthday month for this year. Not this month,
Indeed.
but this year. Yeah. So,
Indeed.
Let's kind of talk a little bit more about sci-fi stuff. We kind of talked about Han Solo. What are we here to talk about today, Mr. KJ?
Amazingly, we had another series in mind as we talked at the end of last episode. And we were talking Andromeda.
Yeah, we were.
But then you and I both ended up on Netflix, and we saw this, and we went, "What in the world is this? What is this?
Ooh,
I can't
shiny.
tell. It's Blade Runner meets Demolition Man."
Now, that is one thing, and what we're talking about is a Netflix original series called Altered Carbon.
I was going to get there.
Well, the one thing I do want to say is I don't want to hear Blade Runner at all.
No, there was a Blade Runner-esque feel to the first episode when he first arrives in downtown.
Just hold the word Blade Runner for the end. I'll explain why, but please continue.
But this show, I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has already binged watched the whole thing.
Well, it was only 10 episodes, and we started watching this Saturday or Sunday. So 2 a day, you're done. Pretty easy if you have the time for that. But anyway, so you've seen the first 2. I've seen the full 10.
Yes.
What did you think?
From the 2 that I've seen, it's a solid 8 on its way to an 8.5 at least.
Okay. I'm going to give it a solid 9, only because I've seen the full season. And as I told you, you got to give it to at least the 3rd or 4th episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a beautiful show. The CGI in it is awesome. The storytelling in it is a little slow in the beginning, but then it is amazing at how complex it gets.
Hey, I'm already sucked into Gonzalez.
Yeah, she's hilarious. I love her. Gonzalez is awesome. You're going to learn a lot about Kovac.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, we've got this sitting over here in the corner. Let's just play the little teaser that Netflix put out for Altered Carbon so people can kind of hear and kind of what the story's about. And then we'll jump in what the story is. What do you think? Do you think we should do it?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it because otherwise they don't know who Kovac is.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this. Let's watch this together.
Your body is not who you are. You shed it like a snake sheds its skin. You transfer the human consciousness between bodies to live eternal life.
How long have I been down?
250 years.
You are the property of Bancroft Industries. You've been provided with this body, which came equipped with military-grade neurochem and combat muscle memory.
Mr. Kovac, I didn't ask you to bring me back into this world. All I ask of you is that you solve a murder. Whose? Mine.
This is the beginning.
Whoever murdered him must be found, or we're all in danger.
I'm gonna need access that you don't want to give. And I'm gonna find answers that you may only think you want.
Friends, enemies, people with opportunity and motive.
You can't trust anybody.
If you don't solve this quickly enough, I'll erase you.
Till the end.
I thought you'd be bigger. They made me bring all this back up.
It's rude.
There's more here than you're willing to see. The mystery needs to be solved.
Hey, Lieutenant?
You know, saving your ass is not my only job.
I like her. This is the beginning.
So there we go. We have got Altered Carbon, which is an awesome Netflix original series. We just watched the trailer together. That is a long trailer, I will say, because there are some smaller ones out there that really do a good job.
It's a full trailer. That's a full trailer. But it does give a good overall synopsis of at least episodes, 1 through 5?
Yeah, and you're even seeing characters in there that you will see all the way to episode 10, the final, which is, I'm going to go ahead and say, I think it's like episode 6 or 7. Your brain just twists, and you're like, what? Not going to go into it, but so we stumbled upon this. We both kind of saw this. It popped up. It was a Netflix original. This is not a new story. This actually was a series of books written by, what is his name? Oh, I had it here a minute ago. This is when your notes fail.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So, what the heck?
You tell me it's Ridley Scott, I'm going to be really pissed.
No, it's not Ridley Scott. No.
Thank God.
This is going to bug me. Anyway, what was your initial impression when you saw the trailer and then you saw the first episode, KJ? What'd you think?
The first episode starts off really weird, where it's his spin up sequence, right? So Kovac is being spun up. His body is being hauled out of this amniotic fluid, effectively, this gel.
Looks like he's in a bag. It's very confusing. You're like, what? Did they grow him?
Well, that's how he's transported to the refresh room.
Yes.
From his prison room is basically this big pool where he's hanging suspended with the umbilical.
Yep.
Right. But they spin him up, and you get this. How long have I been out? How long have I been under? 250 years. So, I guess the premise behind this is, and it said it a little bit in the trailer. your body is just a sleeve.
Yeah.
It's a skin.
Yep.
And your actual essence is stored in what they call the stack. The stack is held at the bottom and the base of your cerebral cortex. So basically, it's an insert vertebrae that goes into your neck.
Yep.
And so your essence, your soul, everything you are, is transferred from shell to shell. Ghost in the shell. Yep. By these really cool looking blue sphery jelly, kind of,
the first time I saw them, when they showed like a stack, like when it's in its, because they have different stacks apparently. They've got like the military grade stack, and then they've got like a normal stack. The military grade stacks look at those little, almost like a smaller version of when you go to a restaurant and they give you a little buzzer to kind of wait and it goes off. Yeah, I was like, they put that in someone's neck. But yeah, so it's pretty interesting. The story's kind of cool. It was actually written in book form by his name is Richard Morgan. It's a series. However, Altered Carbon is the first rendition of this series. I will say, though, that the stories are not concurrent. They are not the same storyline, so that should kind of let you know that if there is going to be another season, it may be a completely different set of cast and crew. But the interesting thing with this type of world that they're set in Altered Carbon is, like you said, you're talking about the stacks. You've got these groups of people that are completely religious, and they still believe that, hey, you should only have one life. When you die, you die. You shouldn't have a stack. You shouldn't be spun up. And then you've also got this other group that, they say, hey, if you are religious, great, fine. You can die, do whatever you want. But if you are religious, you never can be spun back up. Even if you are murdered or something terrible happens to you, we cannot spin you back up and ask you, hey, who killed you? What happened? And that's a key thing that happens in this entire series that is interesting.
That's a key premise in episode 2 when Gonzalez is meeting with her mother.
Yes.
And the fact that her father was murdered.
Yeah.
He was a religious man, and so he was not spun back up.
Mm-hmm.
So they never solved his murder. It's this ongoing mystery. And so her reason for becoming a police officer and for driving so hard against Kovac is the fact that she's trying to solve her father's murder. Now, the catch in this as well is this whole spin-up thing. Let's explain. Kovac is a survivor, and basically he was sent to jail and to prison for the envoy wars.
Yes.
So he was an envoy, which was a very highly skilled, very specialized military operative beyond Black Ops.
Yeah. The main thing that they were attributed for, rather than just their physical abilities, was the ability to completely absorb everything around their settings, including personal feelings from people, looking at people, being able to read people. Kind of like mix a little bit of Jason Bourne with like an empath from Star Trek, being able to kind of read and feel people's feelings. And some of them even had the ability to feel electrical impulses in walls and lights and almost see through them due to some of the genetic redoing, which is what we kind of get with Kovac. So, but so the main thing that kind of see it in the structure is the reason why I'm a big fan of this is they kind of have blended democracy and old mythos from things like Roman society, and they've futurized it. And you've got like the Protectorate, you've got Praetorians, you've got I kind of find it funny that the guy who Kovac is hired to solve his murder actually played Mark Antony in the HBO series Rome, so he's kind of got this feel to it. But it's just really interesting on how they've got all this set up. And when you're saying about the envoy wars, basically there was a sect of people that didn't want them around because they were viewed as an issue of uncontrollability, and of course they also were thought to be trying to overtake the Protectorate, and they basically were exterminated.
Yeah, it's Skynet.
Yeah, pretty much.
They They effectively are the Terminators.
Yeah.
They had all the, well, no, I mean, look at it. I mean, effectively, you're talking about the same type of thing. We've seen this before in other films. Universal Soldier was another example of it. Here's a programmed slave force that undertake missions for covert government operations, and at the end, they're just a disposable bag of water and bones.
Now, to also kind of be clear, there are ways to die in this in this way. Yeah. So,
and I think that's one of the things I really like about this show is although they went futuristic on the cars that fly, futuristic on the way that the city looks and how it's the levels of it, the devastation of the post apocalypse type stuff. But the other thing that they've done, weapons are still full of bullets.
Bullets in energy cells that are basically bullets. But
no real. I mean, we're not seeing lasers discharge weapons.
Yeah,
it's still a cartridge. It's still a finite charge.
There's some type of mass that's being ejected, and So, but you kind of mentioned the levels in society and whatnot. Another key thing to kind of look at here is, not everyone's got a spaceship. Not everyone's got a flying car. It's extremely reserved for the elite of the elite. These are the people that have acquired so much worth in their lifetime that they're called myths or meths. I can't remember.
Meths. And they've acquired so much wealth in their lifetimes.
Yeah, we're talking...
In the case of some of them, where they can afford to re-sleeve every 72 hours because, God, I can't have a body that's deteriorating.
Yeah, another thing that I liked about this that kind of, made you feel like dirty when you're watching it is, so you've got this stack in your neck that's basically got your brain, your essence backed up. You die. Well, you're not going to get your body back if you're just some Joe Schmo on the road. They take your stack out, they store it, and then they're like, oh, well, you get what you pay for. If you're getting the free economy version, then you might be put in a woman's body if you're a man, like an elderly woman, 95 years old. You never know.
And the kid was 7.
Yeah, a kid was 7.
That opening scene, the kid was 7, and my daughter was murdered, and you put her into this old woman's body. Hey, you get what you get.
Yeah, you get what you get. And in this case, Kovac, his body obviously was expended when he was killed, but his stack was not. His stack was saved. His stack, in his essence, was uploaded into a body, and the body is what's his name? Starts with an R.
I can't remember. Anyway.
I cannot remember his name. Anyway, so
the special effects in this series are on par with a typical mid-range sci-fi film.
I would agree, and I would agree also that in certain areas the camera work is where it really excels to kind of overcompensate for
the cinematography. Yeah. The cinematography overall rocks. It demonstrates again that Netflix, when they're doing original series, select directors and producers who really know how to shoot a story.
I just love this story from the get-go. The music, the sound effects, the action scenes, they looked real. The cinematography, everything. The story is so in-depth and so crazy. I don't want to go into too much because you're only on episode 2. I will say this, though, for everyone listening, if you're interested in this and you were thinking about, I don't know, maybe watching a few episodes on your lunch break at work, no. Absolutely not.
Safe for work. It's safe for work.
It's beyond rated R. You kind of get numb with the amount of nudity that is in this TV series. It's that much around every corner.
Well, I mean, full frontal, both male and female in episode 2.
Yeah, you get it all, whether you want it or not. It's in your face. But again, like I said, by episode 6 or 7, you just become numb to it, and you're just like, whatever. And I had the instance where my roommate came home, had not seen this had seen this series at all, didn't know I was watching it, and just walked. He's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a Netflix show." Netflix doesn't do that. They do now.
It's sci-fi. It's sci-fi porn.
It's almost sci-fi porn. But with the storylines that you've got in here and the way that it goes, essentially he's Kovac has been spun up to find this murderer of this really popular, extremely wealthy meth. Who's lived roughly around 400 years and has sired over 27 children. And it's kind of crazy. So he's this guy that's got all these abilities, and he's kind of touted as almost this trophy that this meth is found buried in history. He's like, hey, look what I got. He died over 200 years ago, and he's going to solve my murder. And all the people that I've invited to this party, one of you is my murder, and I'm gonna find out who it is. There's a lot of messed up stuff in this TV series.
Oh, heck yeah.
You mentioned a 7 or 9 year old girl was put into a 90-year-old woman's body. That doesn't touch the tip of the iceberg.
No, I mean, just this episode 2. I mean, come on. He goes to a house of ill repute and then poses as the mother of a child who ends up with a disturbed mind because of a gang rape situation, from what I can gather.
I'm not going to go on.
You don't know that for sure yet.
You don't.
It's only episode 2. There's more in episode 3 and 4. But it's this girl is right in front of him, and she's as naked as it gets, and it just shows no emotion at all about her, even though he's been spun down for 250 years. And
he's in the very beginning of the series. He's the character. We haven't even talked about actors that are in this show. Joel Kinnaman, we all know him from for the comic book fans out there. He was the big guy in Justice League. Excuse me, not Justice League. Suicide Squad. He played the guy. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. Anyway. He also, if you were a big House of Cards fan, he was the opponent that ran against Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, that's where I know him from, was House of Cards.
He played him. He plays the character Takeshi Kovacs, which is the main character. However, there is another actor that also plays Takeshi Kovacs, and that's basically Takeshi Kovacs' body. That I can't find his name for some reason. James Purefoy. He's the one that I told you about. He plays Lawrence Bancroft, which is the super uber rich meth. Then of course you've got Chris Connor. He needs to get himself an Emmy because he's a great job as Poe, especially at the end of this series. Great job. You've got some other notable one-offs in here. Some characters that make appearances, but Netflix really did a good job of finding 1 to 3 big name actors and paying them their big money that they wanted, and then getting a bunch of other B, slightly C-rated actors and actresses that were just overlooked, and they are phenomenal actors and actresses. There's one scene in this series with an actress that she's emotionally completely destroyed, and her brain is gone almost, and she brings herself back at the last minute, and just that acting from someone I've never seen before, I was blown away. I was like, who is this person? They're doing an awesome job. I'm not going to say the name because then you'll be able to find out the actress and you'll find out the character, KJ, so I don't want to ruin that for you, but...
Not like I'm not on IMDb at the moment.
I know, but anyway, the storyline. Where do you think the story's going to go? Now I've seen all 10 episodes. I'm kind of interested to think on, like, who do you think killed Lawrence Bancroft?
The wife did it.
You think the wife did it?
Well, it's either the wife or the son.
The wife or the son? Okay.
Well, the wife's already ended up dead once. We've seen that.
Okay.
Because we see her floating, and that's when the kid's fishing, right?
That's not the wife.
Oh, is that the girlfriend?
Nope. That is the link in the entire series, but you don't know who that is until very late.
Oh, because I thought that was the girl that we saw at the when they first arrive at the Bancroft house.
No, she looks very familiar. There's a few actresses in here that have a pretty big similarity with each other, but it is not the same actress. I really want to ruin it for you, but I can't.
No, don't do it, dude.
I'm not. Let's just say, I feel like this TV series was like a giant series of Clue, because there's so many people that could have killed him. And
so Kovacs is actually playing the Tim Curry part where he's Mr. Body running back and forth.
Kind of. I think Poe does a better job of that, but it's so
he's an AI. Of course, he does a better job of that.
So we'll talk about episode 1 and 2, because I really want to talk about Poe. There is a hotel that pretty much no one goes to anymore because back in the day, artificial intelligence hotels were very popular, but they were known to become very, shall I say, needy and clingy, like a very psychopathic ex-girlfriend that wants to just follow you to the ends of the world. However, in this case, Poe, in my opinion, does not become clingy. He does become very loyal, and he does become very...
He's got a client, the first in 50 years, and he's trying to hold his client because I don't want to let him go because I need clients for my AI to flourish.
Yeah, that, and he was literally programmed to be a human, so he was going insane for 50 years by himself, no one coming in. There is one scene...
He did it! It's the AI! The AI did it!
No, that would have been interesting. The AI plays a pivotal role with 3 characters in this series. Poe does a great job of being a human, of all things, in my opinion. He does a great job of finding when someone's in need and being there for them, and also when they need a kick in the ass, and also when to light shit up and spray some bullets and lasers at people, which we see in the second episode. I just love the whole thing where he's like, you have 40 seconds to sign, 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Let me just hand this over to you. Okay, payment accepted. And then the guns go blazing and killing everyone. It was great.
Because that's one of the best. That's one of the best scenes. Is here's the Russian mafia have come to get Kovacs, and until he actually is under the protection of the hotel, he can't do anything other than basically have guns pointed at him. So once just that little bit of blood, bomb, accepted. Click, 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 bum, bum, bum. Oh, Gatling guns out of the ceiling, dude. It was like it was like a scene out of the Avengers.
Yeah. Poe is also very big on keeping his hotel clean, which is kind of funny because the amount of blood in this TV series is ungodly. It's worse than a Quentin Tarantino movie. That should say something.
I was going to say there are some Kill Bill elements in this movie.
Oh yeah, there's some heads chopped off, fingers chopped off, appendages.
Yeah, a little Kill Bill, a little Pulp Fiction.
But I just love how Poe, he's always reacting. He's like, that is very expensive silk. I assume you're going to take that to the cleaners. I guess not. Guess we'll have to buy another one. It's just so funny, like how he deals with all the people. But great series. I would definitely recommend it for the people that are listening. If you haven't looked into it, look into it. It's only been out since February 2nd, and I've already binge watched it.
It's relatively new. It's only 6 days in. It's the 8th as we're recording this. Now, the other thing I was going to say that goes along with this is that this is not... It captured me because I was looking for something different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your typical sci-fi, big, in-your-face blockbuster type stuff.
Right.
It's got some real depth in the first episode alone that if you're not into that, if you want something superficial, go watch Universal Soldier again.
Yep.
You want something that's deeper. It's got a real story behind it, and it takes a little bit of cerebral sitting and looking at this. You need to sit down with it. It's not something you're going to digest like a typical action film. It's not Stallone.
Yeah. That's the main reason why I got hooked into it, was because if you can engage my mind and make me think, then you've got me captivated. If you're just, throwing some explosions up there, some nudity, sure, that may last for a few seconds, but you want to keep me engaged. If you're making a TV series that's going to go 10 plus hours, then you got to really bring me in. And the story, which, like I said earlier, was a series of books written by Richard Morgan. He was known for this book. This book actually came out in, I believe, 2001 or 2002. So it's been out. It's not new. It's not like the books that, we see made into movies today, like all of the Maze Runner books and stuff like that,
Yeah. Well, and look what and I'm saying this, I just got the notice of it today.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Cloverfield paradox.
Yeah, it came out either today or yesterday. I can't remember.
Right. So this is an alternate worlds thing, chaos theory, quantum.
Yep.
This is we've gone off on an alternate path here, and this world, Earth doesn't exist. We've lost the Earth. It's another one to watch.
I haven't started that one yet. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope it's not filmed the way the movie Cloverfield was filmed, because I wanted to puke while watching that movie.
Netflix, from the sounds of it, has spent $50 million in production on this.
I hope it wasn't done with a JVC camera bought at the local now
no, it looks like a
Radio
red
Shack.
It looks like it was shot on a red one.
Red one. Okay. The red cameras are pretty nice.
That's a 4K. That's a 4K default.
Yeah. Those are nice cameras. Very expensive. Yes. Anyway.
Yes, they are.
I'm just really excited because we had this long drought, KJ, of sci-fi in TV and in movies. Well, not necessarily movies, but just something to keep us sci-fi geeks going.
Well, look at what we've had. We've had the Orville.
Yeah.
Which was classic episodic Star Trek that we've been waiting for years.
In comedic form, which was even better.
Then behind that, we've got Discovery, which is J.J. Abrams-esque, movie-esque, long-form story, big arc. Right? So we've got that. Now we've got Altered Carbon. We've got Cloverfield. We've got a number of series right now that are Netflix originals, well produced, lots of money backing them. Amazon's got stuff coming online shortly. I mean, the new wave of streaming services that are doing their own productions and are now producing new content is up. And that means that we're going to get, thanks to Star Wars and Star Trek, more sci-fi.
And, it does well. People love it. It captivates the brain. It makes you want that. Instead of just fantasy worlds that we got with Lord of the Rings for a while and all of the vampire and Teen Wolf and all that kind of stuff that was going for, we finally have
be careful. Space. Be careful when you're talking about vampires, because you realize that Wesley Snipes wants to bring back Blade.
He does. Is he going to pay his taxes after making said movie and not go to jail again? That's the big question.
Probably not.
The bigger thing is if he does, I know we jumped off a little bit, but if he may want to bring back Blade, but I don't think there's a director that wants to work with Wesley Snipes.
No. Well, the reality is I think that Marvel may actually have seen this coming. I think that we're going to see a downward trend on the superhero films.
Yeah, I agree.
I think everything's going to level out. We're not going to have the super blockbusters now and it's not the characters, it's not the individuals, the actors. It's just a matter of we've had 20 films from Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you get burned out.
And it's like what happened with Star Wars. I mean, we had 3. Mm-hmm. We didn't do anything for 20 years. We re-released the first ones with some augmentation because that's the way that Neckbeard wanted it. And then he went and created these other 3 abominations that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
And now we've got some good Star Wars films, even though the last one, but
talking about like the life of genres, I think you hit it on the head. We go up on the fantasy and then we go down and then we come back up on the sci-fi and we go down. And I'm glad it's back on the sci-fi. I'm not knocking fantasy, but
no.
I'm just,
it's the same way as I'm not going to knock anything to do with comic books right now.
Yeah.
Other than DC.
Yeah. DC, you got to get something going. I will say this though. In retrospect, talking about, superheroes and TVs and movies, I do feel, and I'm a huge fan of Mr. Berlanti, who is known for making all of the CW, DC comic book series. I've been watching Black Lightning. I love Black Lightning as far as the storytelling, the interesting side of it. But as far as a writing perspective goes, because I know he does have a hand in some of the production and some of the writing. He doesn't do it all anymore like he used to, but he does have it.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure that he has literally created a model and said, you got to go by that, but you get to write it. And I'm seeing the same exact model that I saw in season 1 and 2 of Arrow with Black Lightning. I'm seeing the same exact model now with the Flash as I saw in, seasons 3 and 4 of Arrow in the Flash. And I'm like, he literally is rinsing and repeating on the model. Team breaks up, team goes away, team gets back together.
Here is my book. It's made. It has the name Silhouette on it. It's also known as Harlequin. All we do is we fill in the blanks and make it a time period genre piece.
Yep. So it's just one of those things where I'm kind of getting bored with the TV series.
Well, you know what I'd like to see?
What would you like to see?
I would actually like to see some Hanna-Barbera characters.
Like a He-Man?
No. There's one sitting right behind you in that middle picture.
Mr. Space Ghost?
Yeah. Can you see The Rock as Space Ghost?
The Rock, oh my God. The
Dwayne
Rock is
Johnson
in everything.
As Space Ghost.
I don't know.
I think he could do it.
Maybe. Kind of
because I don't want to see Batista.
No. Definitely not Batista. He's too swole. He's too big. That's why I also think that the Rock is too big too. But maybe Jason Momoa. No, too big. I don't know. As far as acting goes, I will say hats off to The Rock because Dwayne Johnson has really proved that he can do anything as far as acting goes. Full range. Yeah. I do know he definitely wants to be in a superhero movie, though. Him and talking about Batista wanted to be in a superhero movie so bad, somehow he got into Guardians of the Galaxy. He's been holding that over The Rock's head when they do their meetups and they do the charity events. He's just like, hey, man.
I know.
But it's kind of funny.
Well, The Rock could just go back and say, yeah, but I was in The Mummy first.
Yes. Yeah, my cameo was in The Mummy.
Was a comic. That Mummy was a comic book series.
I am interested to see where Universal is going with. Hats off to our buddies over at Active Geek Podcast. If you haven't heard, they did a Universal, I think, around Halloween last year.
Oh, the Universal Monster episode?
Yeah, the Universal Monster episodes. It's kind of coming out with all their movies and everything around the return of... I didn't even watch it because I'm pretty sure it was that bad. The other Mummy movie that came out. But
it was horrible.
I'm excited for those because I think that they're going to rebound. I think that was a speed hump because you had Tom Cruise in it. So
well, you know what? If they can get Swamp Thing,
yeah,
let's take the Marvel Swamp Thing and mix it with the Universal monsters because it's a creature from the Black Lagoon with some extra seaweed.
Yeah, it is. Now
that we've gotten completely
off road, yeah, we have. But we kind of talked about. I think. Well, what else? What else do you want to add on Altered Carbon?
Well, I don't know that there's an awful lot else for me to add right now because I haven't seen it.
That's my hiccup, man. I want to talk so much about the show with you, and what?
But what I do know.
What do you know, KJ?
We need to get another fantasy film because we've done sci-fi.
We do.
We need to get back to a fantasy film.
What you thinking? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm wondering.
Let's go old school, like old.
Really?
What?
Well, old school, fantasy films. You talking about like Seven Voyages of Sinbad?
Maybe.
Like the bad claymation, the Harry Rasmussen stuff.
Either that or yeah, let's do that. Or like even go all the way back to like the Titans, the old Greek mythology one.
Clash of the Titans was after the Sinbad movies, dude.
I'm just saying. I mean, you get Clash.
Well, hey, the Clash of the Titans is Maggie Smith. Ow.
When she was super young. That is a very young McGonagall for sure. Faux sure. I forgot about that movie. I remember watching that movie in elementary school. And
I remember watching it in my elementary school. We used to do every senior class got to do a movie day in the gym. So they'd set it all up and we'd actually bring in the 16 millimeter projector with 2 reels. We had 2 projectors lined up so we could put first half, second half. And when Clash of the Titans is one of the movies we did. Burgess Meredith's in that movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of great actors in there, and there's not so great actors in there too that didn't pan out.
And some really bad claymation.
Yes. Well, what are you kind of thinking? Do you want to go more like fantasy, or do you want to go more like something kind of mixed, more modern with like fantasy science, but more so fantasy? What are you thinking?
Well, we've done Krull.
Yep, we did. That was a while ago. We've done Labyrinth.
We have not done the original. We've not done an original Conan.
Conan the Barbarian, Conan.
Yeah,
with Schwarzenegger.
With Arnold in the voice of Veda as the bad guy. James Earl Jones was the baddie.
Let's see if I can...
It was on my Netflix. Because otherwise we're doing something a little more modern again, because there were announcements around the new app from Niantic.
You got to be kidding me. Hold on. Is this 2015? They redid it. Sorry.
Is that the redo of Conan?
No. No, it's an old anime series that I used to watch. They added on Netflix. They remastered it.
They remastered Cowboy Bebop? What?
No. It was called Case Closed. Because I like...
okay.
Anyway, I do not see Conan.
Because the other option that I've got sitting here would be Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
I own that. I'm fine with that. If we have to
I have
do
a copy of that myself. I actually owned a full Blu-ray.
Let's see. I want to say I have it either on here or Prime. I'm pretty sure I have it. But anyway, we can look it up. I'm fine with either Conan the Barbarian or the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I am very interested to see what we do with the new controversy that's going out right now with the new Dumbledore situation.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was more of the...
I think people are making it more of a situation than it needs to be.
Well, it's the Grindelwald as Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Well, it's more along the lines of someone asked in a public forum, are you going to talk about Albus Dumbledore and being gay? And they said that really wasn't what we were going for in the movie, so it wasn't a big topic. We wanted to tell more of the story between Grindelwald and Dumbledore, not so much their private lives. And now there's a big spectacle about it, saying you should throw it in there. And I'm just like, I just want more Harry Potter, man. That's all I want.
I do have Conan the Barbarian on my Netflix. It is available on my Netflix. The original. So that's there. We could do that. Or the other thing that I started watching, and I've not watched the whole thing, I actually started watching Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
I haven't seen that one at all.
That's the last one.
Yeah, I don't even know if I saw the one before that one because I kind of gave up.
Right. Oh, on Stranger Tides? No. On Stranger.
I think so.
Whichever one. The one with the Fountain of Youth. Anyway.
No, I saw the one with the Fountain of Youth, I think. I'm trying to see if I have it on my DirecTV because I think I do.
I was going to say that's the one with Penelope Cruz as the female Jack.
Let's see. Do we have it? We do. It has to be recorded though. When's our next record date?
2 weeks.
I need a physical date. We're good. All right. I'm just gonna record it. It's gonna record on February 15th at 8:30 p.m. and I can watch it. So that we're gonna watch. Never mind. That's the new one. We're not gonna watch that one. Okay. So I think we're gonna do Fantastic Beasts. What do you think?
Works for me. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, or where not to find them, depending on whether or not you like nifflers.
I'm okay with that. Let's do that. Let's do blah 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 blah. Words are hard.
The story of Newt Scamander and his Niffler in New York.
You really wanted to... I'm sorry, but I love the little creature that's always stealing stuff. Is that the Niffler?
He's a platypus.
Yeah.
He looks like a platypus.
He's like...
He likes shiny.
Yeah. And they're like shaking him out and stuff just keeps coming out. And there's like trophies that fall out from him. Like, where did you hide that?
Let's save it for next episode.
We will. All right. I think we've kind of wrapped up all we wanted to talk about and what we can talk about without ruining the series of Altered Carbon. You got to finish this series though, KJ. And then
I will.
And then I want to have a conversation with you because there are so many things that make you think one thing and then it skews another way. And then maybe in the end, one of your 15 million original ideas may be correct in a weird, freaky way.
In a weird, freaky way. Yeah.
But yeah.
If you have watched Altered Carbon and want to, you want to chime in on what you think of the series, you can tweet us on Twitter at Warp My TARDIS or at Geek Culture Cast, and make sure to use the hashtag GCCN in your little tweet so that we know it's out there and we can grab it and we can give you mentions and stuff like that. But and listen to the other shows on the network. Active Geek Podcast, that's Active Geek Productions, Active Geek _ on Twitter, as well as Legends of the Panel on Twitter at Legends Panel.
Yep, and we will be recording next Thursday. We haven't really talked about what we were going to go over. I think we'll just kind of leave that for surprise. But
Ant-Man and Wasp. It's the Ant-Man Wasp trailer.
That's
right.
We pushed off. We pushed it off.
And now we can add to that Deadpool. We can add to that
Venom.
The Venom trailer, and we can add to that the Infinity Wars trailer. So we've got
so
all
much.
this new content that just hit us for comic book movies thanks to Super Bowl,
which was moderately okay. But hey, the Patriots didn't win. So if you're a Patriots fan, tweet at us how much you hate us. Yeah, any love we'll take at this point. But yeah,
now that's funny. As we're sitting here, girlfriend just happened to text me.
Yes,
watching Harry Potter with my son.
There you go. You should just catch one up with that. Like, really? Are you watching Fantastic Beasts? I need to watch it as my homework assignment for my next Warp My TARDIS. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week. Go watch Altered Carbon. If you like what you hear, like KJ said, please give us a shout on Twitter and on Facebook. Stay tuned to our Geek Culture Cast Instagram and our Facebook because we have been putting out information on that and some links here and there. And again, the guys over at Active Geek Productions or Podcasts, they are always doing stuff on their social media, and they typically beat us to the punch with some news. So if you need something really up to date, go follow Jim and Chuck over at Active Geek on their Instagram as well. Yep. KJ, I'm gonna let you send it off.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is, we also are in the skunk works here at, the Geek Culture Cast Network. We have been working on bringing the shows together and doing one super show. We don't know when it's going to be yet. Mr. Chulak and I and the Lady Archer all need to get back in touch with Jim and Chuck over in Joyzy, Philly. They're in that area that's right on the edge between New Jersey and Pennsylvania. But we need to get back in touch. Need to sit down and have some coffee and figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we should just do a road trip. Well, you don't need to do a road trip, or maybe I don't know. Maybe we should all just go to New York for the day.
Considering all the stuff I've got coming up in my plans,
that's a no.
$1,200 so far for Ireland.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You're going to have fun with it. But yeah. Well, Mr. KJ, I'm going to let you send it out before I hit that master outro button.
Master outro? That would mean because we still don't have an outro.
Because we still don't have. We'll change the intro, but we still have yet. Maybe that's just the running gag we're going to keep from now until the end of the show, like permadeath. Like, sorry, we didn't spin up the stack this time. Boop. See what I did there.
How long have I been out? 3 years?
Oh, man.
How long have I been out? 3 seasons. Thank you for listening to Warp My TARDIS podcast here on the Geek Culture Cast Network. We look forward to having you join us again in 2 weeks. Until then, for Mr. Chulak and myself, KJ the Comic Guy, bye, everyone.
This has been a presentation of the Geek Culture Cast Network. To find out more, email us at geekculturecastnetwork@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter @GeekCultureCast.